I used to work at Verizon, 22 years. I was an operator, then I was an outside tech, then I was an inside tech, and then for the last 10 years I did tech support. So I got laid off, and Neil's the first person that I called because I knew that he hired people, and I asked him for help, and we grabbed breakfast, and the next thing I knew, I was working for New York Life.
Neil saw in Jason was that he had the ability to learn, even though he didn't have the experience and the knowledge, and that he would work very hard, and that he loved people.
I've always worked hard. I remember when I was younger, right? I was 22 years old, and I used to wash windows on the side. So I would wash windows from 6 to noon. From noon to 4, I would go to school, BC, by the way. And then from 4 to midnight, I would go to work at Verizon. And then I started the day all over again. And to me, it was just another day. I never thought anything of it.
What makes Jason so successful is he really, deep down, enjoys helping people. He really likes New York Life. He likes the process. And you know he went to BC.
He's a natural-born prospector. He'll talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime to get a lead.
I'm always asking. So that's one thing that I feel that I do really well is I always ask people no matter where I am. So I was at the doctor's office a few months ago for something, and the girl that signed me in, I got an appointment with. I've never, ever, ever been afraid of somebody saying no, because in my mind, they may have said no to me, but at least they know what I do.
I think even from the beginning, he realized the support that he has here. So he knew from the get-go that as long as he got in front of people, he had enough support on the back end to do a great job with them.
Jason never wanted to take any chances. If he was out on a meeting or thought a meeting was something that was above him in his knowledge at the point in time, he would always come to me and say, hey, who do you think would be the right person to come out on this case with me? And he did a really good job teeing meetings up.
Joint work was very important to me because I could not ever take the chance on not closing something. If there was a shadow of a doubt, then I brought Jay on. I try to do at least one case a quarter with Jay because I'm constantly learning from him.
Did a great job working with Jason Bork specifically. If not Jason Bork, Paul Wright. Paul Wright went on a lot of meetings with Jason, again, because he didn't want to take any chances.
Paul Wright has been instrumental. I would never do a senior case. I don't know if that's the right term. I would never do a person that is in retirement or on their way to retirement without going over it with Paul first.
And I say, okay, so what are you selling and why? And he tells me, and then I say yes or I say no, and I tell him why, and we go back and forth, and he goes out the door with his final recommendation.
Jason is very, very competitive. What's great is he's competitive not just for himself. He's competitive for the Boston General office. He's competitive for New York Life in the marketplace. And so while being very competitive on an individual basis, he's an incredible team player. You know what I really love about Jason Kaplan? He went to Boston College.
I think it translates to business as well. I mean, at the end of the day, he wants to be the best. He wants to be on top of every list and get every award that's possible. And again, in this business, when you combine all those characteristics of working hard and competitiveness, you're going to end up on the top of a list somewhere like he has.
When Jason came to New York Life, he was willing to work hard and needed to make a lot of money. For him, the key was to really understand the model, because when Neil taught him that the model made his business very predictable, then he could figure out what needed to happen so that he could give his family the lifestyle that they were accustomed to.
I have pretty much a 50% ratio for scheduling and actually keeping the appointment. So if I wanted to have 6 to 8 appointments a week, I had to do 12 to 16 scheduled appointments. So that was really important to me. Youth sports is my big thing. So I have a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 6-year-old. My 13-year-old does competitive gymnastics, so I've got a lot of clients in that. My 11-year-old daughter does travel basketball, travel softball, and that's a big clientele for me. I make it a point that before the end of the season that I will approach every single parent on her team. That is always a goal of mine for every team that she's ever on. And then my 6-year-old, he just started t-ball for the first time, so I've got at least another 8 to 10 years of youth sports parents that I'll be hopefully sitting down with.
I think the best part about Jason is that that not only does he do a great job here, but he does a great job at home. His time management is impeccable. He works extremely hard, but he puts his son Eli on the bus every morning. He's at every single one of Ava's basketball games, and he brings his son Sam to gymnastics 7 days a week.
Jason is a great example. He makes both time with his family and high activity with clients non-negotiable, and learned early on that the two are compatible.
I can do these things. I can still coach. I can still help my kids. I can still drive them places. We like to do a lot of vacations. My wife and I, we do a cruise every year. We go to Disney World every year. That has not changed.
The other thing that's exciting about Jason is he has a long-term vision and goal of where he wants this to go. He has talked about building this business not just for himself and his family, but for his daughter Ava. He would love his daughter Ava to come into the business at some point, and so when he comes in every day, he has a purpose, not only to provide income for himself and his family, but also to build a business for hopefully his daughter one day if she does make that decision.